So Caitlin Clark and Asia Wilson were both invited to join Unrivaled, but both of them turned down the opportunity to play in the 3-on-3 league. And that's not the interesting part. The interesting part is a story that dropped today in the Sports Business Journal where it alleged, obviously there were rumors of Caitlin Clark being offered over $1 million to play in the league, as well as equity, basically to join. Of course, they had to come with what everybody thought was a crazy offer for her. According to this story, it is saying that Asia Wilson allegedly was offered even more money. And I know some people cannot believe this. So according to the quote, basically the source says, I believe they did offer more than Clark because I know what they offered Asia. That was what the source close to Wilson told Sports Business Journal. The rest of the quote goes, they have a lot of money and they offered her a lot of money. And I was even just like, oh, are you sure you don't want to do this? But I also understand she really values her off season, and that's where she has risen her game. If you've noticed, she's come back adding something in her game every season, and that's where it happens, is in the off season. As of right now, these are just rumors. We don't know what Caitlin was actually offered. We don't know what Asia was actually offered. I was seeing a lot of people make the case that they could not believe this. And at first, I agreed with you because obviously the biggest star in women's basketball is Caitlin Clark. But the folks that are behind these leagues, who do you think they might value? I think we all can recall how the beginning of the WNBA season started. I think we can all recall the sham Rookie of the Year race that was going on. The folks that are paying these salaries, they're not looking at Caitlin Clark as the biggest star in the sport. They're looking at Asia Wilson probably as the MVP of the sport, 3-time MVP. They're looking at her as a scoring champion. They're looking at her as somebody that has had a great career so far, and the best player in the WNBA. That's how they're looking at her, and I think there could be something to this. That she may have been offered more than Caitlin Clark, and it basically come under a premise of that. And while I think that is dumb, because we know what Caitlin will do for your box office, and we know what Asia Wilson will do for your box office, two different things. In the lead up to Caitlin Clark eventually turning down Unrivaled, I don't think I heard Asia Wilson's name really talked about much by fans because Asia is well known she doesn't play, in the off season. So I don't think people even thought about her. And in comparison to Caitlin, everyone wants to know her every move. It's not the same thing necessarily for Asia Wilson. Now there's a conspiracy going that maybe the Wilson side wanted this out there just to stick it to Caitlin a little bit. Of course, they've been at war in the Cold War of Nike, essentially between them. Asia getting the shoe already, the controversy with her comments regarding Caitlin Clark about their race and everything like that. And this has been kind of a silent war, I would say, especially Asia Wilson's comments about Indiana, traveling there. And for Caitlin's side, she has not really responded to these things because you can't keep responding to alleged shots at you. Like, I think that's, the way Caitlin's handled it is probably the best way because, in a lot of people's eyes, there would be no winning that. But I'll tell you this, if Unrivaled came out here and let's just throw out big round numbers. If they were like, hey, Asia Wilson, we've got $4 million for you. And Caitlin, we've got 3.3 and equity. I think everyone on their board should be fired immediately. And there was some way that maybe both parties were aware of the situation. That would just be bad business. That would be, once again, someone not recognizing the proper value of 22. And when I say 22, I'm not talking about Asia Wilson. I'm sorry. I'm talking about Caitlin Clark. I know they wear the same number. But we're talking about the person with the motion. The person that is about to join, the women's soccer league ownership person with the State Farm commercials and, Gatorade amongst other things. The speaking engagements, $100,000, $250,000 for an appearance. We're talking about that person, the person moving, the ladies' golf game right now. Yeah, so I find this unbelievable, but the things that the women's basketball tastemakers and business people have assumed and how they've operated has led me to think this could entirely be realistic, which is shambolic, to say the least. Anyway, my name is Rich. I'm up out of here. I'll holla at y'all next time. What do you think? Let me know. Who do you think got the bigger offer? My name is Rich. This is One Lifetime. Peace.